a special service. Today, we are going to bring to you a celebration of our interfaith oneness during this holiday season. It's called A Season of Light. And we will be featuring the light found within many different faith traditions. Science of Mind is founded upon the basic principle of oneness. And certainly here in Ocala, we practice that inclusivity and diversity in many amazing and wondrous ways. So today we'll do that through our prayer and our practice, through our music and our words, through our love and through our fellowship. We're glad you're here. I created this service about 10 years ago to highlight that diversity that is the hallmark of Science of Mind and so many of the other interfaith traditions. Each of the holidays that we are celebrating today has a particular gift that we are going to highlight. A wondrous gift that you can put into practice in your everyday life. So I know that within this service, there's a wondrous gift ready and available for you. So welcome, enjoy. We look forward to your participation this morning. I'm going to start by lighting the candle of oneness, the candle of spirit. Thanks to the miracle of LED, it's as easy as a switch. And as we reflect upon this light, we are going to sing that invocation in song by remembering, I am a light in this world. If you haven't done so already, turn to somebody and say, you are a light. Yes, you are. That light we are celebrating in so many rich traditions and so many wondrous ways today. And we're going to take that light with us and shine in Ocala and shine in Florida and just shine, shine, shine everywhere we go. We're going to shine, shine, shine. We're going to shine, shine, shine. So our traditions begin by going way, way back, which means like before 1970 for some of us. We're going to go to the wondrous ancient tradition called winter solstice. And our gift for winter solstice is the gift of renewal. And Angel is going to be our angel for winter solstice.
Solstice, meaning sun stand, is a celebration of the ascension of the sun. Around December 22nd, we have our shortest day and longest night of the year. It was at this time of year that the pagan people feared that the sun god had forsaken them, would build great fires and kindle lights to encourage the sun god to receive his lamp. There was much feasting and rejoicing as the days grew longer, for soon spring would come and life would once again flourish. In this day and age, the renewal of the sunlight may not mean much with all of our electronical conveniences. But back then, life depended on daylight for sustenance. When it all seemed darkest, isn't it comforting to know that life, in all its indigenous ways, does indeed go on? We are not alone.
We are the same, ancient as the stars, new as the vulnerable spark.
We are not alone.
We are this house, rimmed by the spiral dance of searching.
We are not alone.
We are the light soaring, the shadows deepening, the dance between them.
We are not alone.
We are the heirs of the tribes and the fires, the healers and their circles.
We are not alone.
We are here. We are here for ourselves. We are here for each other, and we are not alone.
We are not alone. The gifts of solstice are represented on the altar, and I created an altar for each of the different traditions, which has slowly built over the years to find some wonderful treasures. But in the end, if you'd like to come up and look at the altar, the gifts of solstice are represented by many of the items that we consider to be mostly Christmas, but they do come from the pagan tradition of solstice. We have there the evergreen and the Christmas tree and the wreath. All come from that great tradition. We also have some of the sparkle and the light, which celebrates the snow and the seasons and the elements of solstice. So as we reflect upon the gifts of solstice, I invite you to join me in this intention that for everyone who practices this faith, be it the pagan faith, an indigenous faith, a First Nation faith, all the peoples of the earth, all the peoples of the sky and the sun, all the people who follow the moon, may all of these brilliant souls be at peace. And so it is. Our second tradition is another wondrous, light-filled ancient tradition known as Hanukkah. The gift for Hanukkah is the gift of dedication. And Reverend Beth is going to share that gift with us.
Hanukkah, meaning dedication. Hanukkah is celebrated for 8 days by lighting candles on a menorah every night, starting on the 25th of Kislev on the Hebrew calendar, which is November-December on the Gregorian calendar. This year, it fell on the first day of Advent, last Sunday, and today is actually the 8th day of Hanukkah, the last day that the lights will shine this year. After a small band of Jewish fighters liberated the land of Israel from the Syrian Greeks, Judah Maccabee and his soldiers cleaned and repaired the defiled temple in Jerusalem. To celebrate their victory and rededicate the temple, they began to carry out the ritual lighting of the menorah, a candelabra. They looked everywhere for oil to burn and found only enough for one day. Miraculously, it lasted for 8 days. This gave them enough time to get new oil and keep the menorah lit for a longer time. Today, the lighting of 8 candles in the menorah pays tribute to the miracle of light. When, in modern times, we feel that all is lost, perhaps our personal temple, be it body, mind, or soul, has been desecrated, there is always the light of dedication, a miracle of benevolence to renew us. And so the blessings of Hanukkah in Hebrew, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, b'tzvan haduk ner shel Hanukkah. Blessed is the Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with his mitzvah and commands us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. And so together, join me as we say this together. We kindle these lights because of the miracles, the wonders, the liberations, and the battles that you carried out for our forebears in these days at this time of year. Through the hands of your holy priests, for all 8 days of Hanukkah, these lights are holy. We are not allowed to use them. They are only to look at in order to thank and praise your great name on account of your miracles, your wonders, and your liberations.
So I'll light the candle for Hanukkah. Hanukkah is represented on the altar with its traditional colors of blue and white, or sometimes blue and silver. I found a lovely blue and white Hanukkah candle, and it was so beautiful I couldn't light it, so I found another blue one that serves in its place. I finally found a small menorah. That took me a long time, because menorahs, I found with people, are handed down from generation to generation, and many individuals are not willing to even lend them. One other place that I offer them, son has his father's menorah, it was his grandfather's menorah originally, and he brings it in, and it's just beautiful, but we can only have it for those couple of hours. He takes it away. So I finally found one, and I found the dreidel game, which was fun. I found a dreidel one time that was filled with jelly beans. I don't understand the connection, but I had it in my little box where I kept it all year, and the jelly beans melted and the dreidel game went away. So I found another dreidel game, which is there. And I did have some gelt again, but it was chocolate gelt. And like the jelly beans, it sadly hit a flower of summer and it is no more. But I like the idea of gelt, the money, because it reminds me, being Italian, I grew up Catholic, and gelt and guilt sound so similar. It felt like a nice connection. But know that it's there in spirit. So that is our tradition of Hanukkah, and the beautiful prayer by Beth and the wonderful solstice by Angel will now bring us into some more current holiday traditions. We're going to start, if you look at how gorgeous Donna and Norma are dressed for Kwanzaa today, they're going to start the Kwanzaa tradition with I Am Light by India Ari, and then telling us about the celebration.
Derived from Matunda ya Kwanzaa, first fruits in Swahili, is the secular African American holiday which celebrates family, community, and culture. It lasts 7 days, December 26th to January 1st. Every night the family gathers and someone lights one of the candles on the kinara, or the candle holder, and one of the 7 principles is discussed. These 7 principles, or Naguzo Zaba, are values of African culture compiled by Dr. Mulana Karenga, professor and chairman of Black Studies at CSU, Long Beach. They are unity, umaja, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Self-determination, kuji chagu lila, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Collective work and responsibility, ujima, to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. Cooperative economics, Ujamaa, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses and to profit from them together. Purpose, Nia, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Creativity, Kumu Ba, to do always as much as we can, in whatever way we can, in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. And lastly, faith, Himani, to believe with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. These guiding principles shine a light on any community looking to build a foundation or maintain its presence. They would serve us well as a universal declaration of community as the greatest place to represent and benefit the best of humanity. Habiri Gani, what is the news?
Unity, to strive for and maintain unity in family, community, nation, and race.
Abarigani, what is the news?
Self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create ourselves, and speak for ourselves. We honor our unique individuality.
Abarigani, what is the news?
Collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together. We reach out our hands and help each other hold fast to our dreams.
Abarigani, what is the news?
Cooperative economics to build and maintain our own businesses and to support our local economy so that we can profit together.
Abarigani, what is the news?
Purpose, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their greatness.
Abarigani, what is the news?
Creativity, to always do as much as we can in whatever way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it.
Abarigani, what is the news?
Faith, to believe with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and our cause.
So it is.
Thank you, Donna. On the altar, I still don't have a kinara. It may take me as long as finding a menorah, but I'm still looking. But I do have a candle for Kwanzaa. I have a first fruits basket, which I put together with the different things that they say the baskets contain. And I have an African queen representation of that on the altar. I especially feel a connection to Kwanzaa in different spiritual communities, such as this one. I really feel the sense of oneness as it moves through all of our communities. In those central principles, there's so much wisdom to be found in building any home, family, community. Thank you for Kwanzaa. The next holiday we have also speaks to my heart because I've done a lot of work with the Indian American community when I was in Atlanta. And that was there that I was introduced to this holiday. And when I say it, it just makes my mouth happy and it makes me want to dance. It's the traditional holiday and a new one at that called Panchaganapati. And I love to say that. And we're going to find out about the gift of joy. And Barbara is going to share that gift with us.
Panch Ganapati. It's a Hindu festival dedicated to the five-faced elephant god Ganesha. It is 5 days, December 21st through the 25th, of gift-giving and merriments within the home. There is no need for a tree, wreaths, or any Santa for Lord Ganesha. Does it all in high style. An altar is created with sacred images, colors, and lights. During each of the 5 days, the entire family focuses upon different sadhanas, or spiritual practice. These sadhanas allow celebrants to create a new beginning in their lives by making amends for mistakes made in the past year. Wouldn't your holidays feel a lot more joyful if you knew that you had given forgiveness or been forgiven for any misunderstanding or pain in relationships? The sadhana for the first day is to create an atmosphere of love and peace among the immediate family. If strained relationships have arisen during the year, they make amends for misunderstandings, insults, and mental and emotional pain caused and suffered.
I release all sufferings of the past year and celebrate a new day based in freedom.
The second day is devoted to creating an atmosphere of love and peace among neighbors, relatives, and close friends, giving gifts and offering apologies to clear up any misunderstandings.
I release all misunderstandings of the past year and celebrate a new day based in freedom.
On the third day, the family works to create an atmosphere of love and peace among business associates, merchants, and even the public. The sadhana today is to settle debts and disputes.
I release all disputes of the past year and celebrate a new day based in freedom.
The fourth day, the sadhana of day 4 is to call forth the vibration of joy and harmony that comes from music, art, drama, and the dance as our universal story.
I celebrate a new day based on the creativity of my spirit.
The sadhana for the 5th day is to bring forth love and harmony within all the worlds. Because of sadhanas well performed during the first 4 days, everyone is now intensely aware of Ganesha's grace and their love for him is overflowing.
I am joyous, I am free.
And so it is.
On the altar for Panchaganapati, I have an orange candle, which is so often in the Hindu tradition, the color for joy. I have a bookend of Gandhi, which is given to me from the Gandhi American Foundation, and of course some incense and some sandstone. And I have my Ganesh. It took a long time to find a really beautiful Ganesh. I saw big ones and gold ones and silver ones and multicolored ones. And then I was in St. Augustine a couple of years ago, and there was a little Ganesh that I could hold in the palm of my hand. So when I felt the need for joy, I could carry that Ganesh with me and affirm that joy, that prosperity, so I could have it all year round, which sounded good to me. So that is our celebration. Feels good to release all of those misunderstandings, hurts, insults, and stand free in the joy that is our birthright. So that is the gift so beautifully described by Barbara in Panchaganapati. And that brings us to perhaps our best known holiday of the season. For most people don't often say happy holidays, they say Merry Christmas. So we are going to start off our Christmas celebration with the song Light of the Sable, and then we are going to welcome up Ron and Gail to come and share Christmas with us. I had hoped that they would dress as Mr. and Mrs. Claus, but they are dressed in the good colors, and Ron's got on a fabulous tie. So we're going to have the song, and then we'll have Ron and Gail bring us Christmas.
praises. Hail, hail to the guiding light that brought us today to this baby. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Christmas, the gift of love. Christmas is a Christian holiday celebrated on December 25th to commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ, the Anointed One.
Isaiah 9:6-7 tells us, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulders, and his name will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace."
Known as the light of the world, Jesus' birth, life, and death are detailed in the four Gospels of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. This Christmas story shares the divine ideals that Jesus symbolized and symbolizes still. Ideals of love, wisdom, beauty, joy, and power.
The great 13th century mystic, Meister Eckhart, asked, "What is it to me that Christ was born 1,300 years ago if he is no longer born in me now?" At this time in our history, we can remember that the light of Christ is in every one of us. And the light, and as the light, our highest, truest spiritual self.
For this time of hope and great expectations, we affirm the power of our imaginations casts blessings on all the events of the days ahead.
We dedicate ourselves as channels for the coming of the grace and truth of the Christ upon the earth, the world. We affirm God's blessings on our homes.
We invite the prospering activity of the Holy Spirit to bless our homes with warmth, order, and love.
We affirm God's blessings for the children, for their radiant health,
for their dreams, their hopes, and their joy.
We bless our children and behold in them the pure joy and beauty of Christ's love.
We affirm the blessings of divine graciousness on the Christmas tree and every revered symbol of the holy season.
Divine love graciously and lavishly supplies the beauty of Christmas.
We affirm the spirit of guidance to direct the selection of the gifts we prepare to give.
Divine intelligence guides us in the giving and receiving of gifts. We give lovingly and receive graciously.
We affirm the peace of the Christ is manifest in the world this Christmas.
The Christ of peace expresses from every human heart, and the earth rejoices in the spirit of brotherhood and our oneness with God.
The lights of Christmas symbolize our illumined hearts.
We have joined together today to prepare for the coming of the Christ Spirit. Together we open our hearts and our minds to this reality. The Christ is born in us this day.
We accept this with thankful hearts, O loving God.
And so it is.
So it is.
Christmas is represented on the altar with many of the wonderful images that we so associate with this holiday season. We have, of course, Santa and snowmen. I've worked in retail for a long time, and I find it's interesting that at this time of year, snowmen outsell Santa 3-1. We have angels and gingerbread houses representing the cookies and treats of the season, and again, the colors of red and green that we are so familiar with. So we celebrated 5 wonderful holiday traditions. The service has evolved over the year, and there will be more additions, I'm sure, as time goes on. But as you reflect in the days ahead on the experience of this morning and the gifts of the season, remember the gifts of renewal, of dedication, of joy, of community, and especially of love. And know that they are with you, in you, now and always. So as we reflect on that, in our closing song, this song is "This Is My Wish" by Jordan Sparks. It came from a Glade commercial. For those of you that didn't know that, a few years ago someone came up to me and said, "Have you seen the Glade commercial?" And I said, "No." She said, "Wait till you hear the song." So every year when we close the celebration, we said, let's play the Glade song. Everybody likes that. So let this go forth as our wish for for ourselves, for each other, and for all the world. Let's sing together, "This is my wish."